Otherwise, lie yourself down, make yourself comfy, and take your attention to your breath. Your shoulders relax. Feel every breath. Feel how your body gently rises as you breathe in, gently sinks back as you breathe out. And can you watch the whole breath from start to finish? Noticing that moment when you turn your breath around from breath in to breath out. And when you turn it around from breath out to breath in. And all the bits in between. Keeping that pace of breath, bring your arms by your sides. As you take your next breath in, reach your arms up towards the ceiling and then continue over beyond your head, just as far as your arms want to go. And as you breathe out, bring your arms back down by your sides. You make the same movement with every breath. Welcome, Helen. And the next time your arms land by your sides, let them stay there. Bend your knees, bring your feet onto the mat. Take your feet at comfortable hip distance apart, maybe slightly wider than hip distance, and your arms out to the sides. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, let both knees drop over to the right side. As you breathe in, bring them back up to the centre. And a breath out over to the other side. So every breath in, you bring your knees back up to the centre, and every breath out over to the other side. Continue until you next come up from the left side. And when you've got both feet on the floor again and your knees pointing to the ceiling, stretch your legs out along the mat and reach your arms beyond your head. Push your heels away, pull your toes up towards you. Feel a bit of length through the sides of your waist, as if your rib cage and your hips are lengthening away from each other. And then spread your fingers as wide as they'll go. Spread your toes as wide as they'll go. Relax your hands, relax your feet. And then bend your knees. Bring your knees onto your chest. Take your hands around your knees and have a rock from side to side. And place your feet on the floor. Take a roll to one side. Make your way up to standing. So feet grounded on the floor. And with the soles of your feet as firm on the floor as they can be, feel a lift through your inner ankles. Let the arches of the feet start to work. Knees can be soft. Bring up to your full height. And then tuck in your chin, let the back of your neck be long. And then keep that lift through the back of your skull, but lift your chin to be parallel to the floor. So the arms relax. And then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. So keep your feet grounded. Keep that bit of lift through your inner ankles. A lift through the sides of your waist. Keep your arms a little bit wider. And then look up towards the ceiling between your fingers. Lift the centre of your chest towards the ceiling. Reach back with your arms. If your shoulders come up by your ears, roll them away from your ears. Centre of your chest closer to the ceiling. Shoulders relaxed. And then look forwards, reach up. Arms come wide. Bend your knees. Forward fold. Let your fingers land on the floor. Let your head and neck relax. Your shoulders relax. Stretch through the whole length of your spine. Step back with your right leg into a lunge. And then lift your chest, look forwards. Step the left foot back to down face dog. Ground down through your feet, tummy button to spine. And then slide forwards to plank. Hold your plank steady. Knees on the floor. And then smoothly lower your front body down. Elbows close in by your sides. So roll your thighs down, your hips, your tummy, your chest. And then roll your shoulders back. Elbows still close in by your sides. Take a lift of your chest. Back down at the floor. Push up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Lift into down face dog. And we're going to take a stretch of the legs, one leg at a time. So don't rush between legs. Feel a stretch with every straight leg. And then let both legs stretch. So your heels come closer to the floor. Feel a stretch right up the length of both legs as well, the backs of both legs. Weight on your left foot, look between your hands. Step your right foot through to a lunge. Step your left foot in line with your right foot, forward fold. And then take a good bend of both knees. Get your hips down nice and low to the floor. Keep them there, but lift your spine. Look forwards, come all the way up, straighten your legs. Arms together at the top, lifting up through the sides of the waist. And then keep your height as you slide your palms down. Lifting again, arms up to the ceiling. And look up, reach back and wide. Centre of your chest lifts, shoulders relax. Fingers reaching to the back corners of the ceiling. Look forwards, reach up. Forward fold. Left leg back to a lunge. You can lift your chest. Right foot back to down face dog. Slide forwards to plank. Press firmly down into the mat, but lift your toe button up towards your spine. So if you're feeling strong, leave your knees lifted, otherwise place your knees gently on the floor. And wherever you are, a smooth lower of your front body all the way down. And then your shoulders back. Lift your chest. And down again. Push up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Down face dog. Feel the length that you've stretched into the backs of your legs, the whole length of the backs of your legs. So not just your calves, but the backs of the thighs as well. Steady breath, tummy button to spine. And then weight on your right foot, lift between your hands. Step the left foot through to a lunge. Step the right foot forward, forward fold. Deep bend of your knees. And then lift your spine. So you've got a bit of an arch back. Straighten your legs to come up. Palms together at the top. Slide your palms down. Standing tall. And go with the breath. So breath in to lift up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right leg back to a lunge. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. Tummy button to spine, a slow, steady breath. Firm down through your hands. And if you firm down through your hands, can you slide your hips closer to the wall behind, even just a millimetre? And then use the strength in your hands and your arms to hold your hips back. Weight on your left foot, lift between your hands. Breath in, right foot steps forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms slide down. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale, lift your arms. Smooth, continuous movements. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back to a lunge. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, back to down face dog. Steady breath. The best contact you can find with the floor. Every point of contact with the floor, you're making use of. Move up into spine. And then slide your hips just a millimetre further back. On your right foot, slip between your hands. And then a breath in, left foot forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms slide down. Breath in here. And then breath out. And then let your arms rest by your sides. Just stand still. No one sees your t-shirt this time. Don't touch it. We're going to take a balance. So if you want to step off your mat, it's a little bit easier to balance on, well, you're not on a squidgy mat. A hard floor, lucky you. So come into that same standing tall position. We're going to move into tiptoes, just lifting our heels up. Feet together is the harder option. Feet hip distance apart, a slightly easier option. It's still balancing pretty much. So anywhere in between the two, and you can move your feet if you want to. But stand tall. Have that feeling that you're about to lift onto tiptoes without actually doing it. Feel that sort of lift up through your tummy, lightness through your heels. Lift our arms first. Find a point where you can hold your gaze and then lift up onto tiptoes. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, take your arms wide out to the side. Stay lifted on your heels. So you breathe in, lift your arms. And as you exhale, leave your arms lifted but lower your heels smoothly down to the floor. Everything's slow and controlled. Breath in to lift your heels. Exhale, arms wide. Inhale, lift. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, arms wide. Inhale up. Leave your arms there. Exhale, heels down. One more time through. Breath in to lift up. Exhale, arms out. Inhale up, heels your highest they can go. Exhale, heels squeeze down to the floor, arms come down by your sides. And then take a lie down on your front. So as usual, make a pillow with your hands, rest your forehead on your pillow. Take your attention to your breath. It's a moment just to be in the present moment. Feeling the breath, feeling your tummy moving on the floor, expanding as you breathe in, softening as you breathe out. Hands slide under your shoulders. Push up to hands and knees. You're going to come onto the side so that you can see a bit better. So wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and then tummy button up towards your spine. Push down with your hands, push down with your shins as you lift your tummy button. Try and get your head in line with the rest of your spine as well. So not lifting your head and looking forwards, not tucking your chin in. Shoulders away from your ears. Everything's strong. You're going to stretch the right leg out behind. Push the heel out to the wall behind. And have a think where your kneecap is pointing. If it's rolled out to the side, turn it down towards the floor so your hips stay square. Lower back might want to arch a little bit, so tummy button to spine to hold it steady. And then firm down with your right hand, lift the left arm out in front. Heel pushes behind, fingertips reach forwards. Spine still. Long. Hand to the floor, knee to the floor. Have a moment there. So when you have a moment, it's quite nice just to let your back sag. And that's what we're avoiding doing when we're doing the posture. You're lifting your tummy button, setting it in a nice flat position. So not trying to get rid of the natural curves, but definitely not exaggerating any of them. You're squaring up again, hands pushing down, shins pushing down, tummy button to spine, neck neutral. And then you're going to stretch your left leg out behind. Flex the ankle, push the heel to the wall, turn your kneecap down to the floor. It's almost like you're lifting up the inside edge of your thigh more than the outside edge. Going down through your left hand, stretch the right arm out. No sagging in your back. Elongate that diagonal line. And then right hand down onto the floor. Left knee onto the floor. Sit back in child's pose just for a moment to relax your arms. Hands under shoulders, back up to hands and knees. Firm down through your hands and your shins. Lift your tummy button, get that nice strong position. And then again, right leg stretches back. Heel to the wall, toes to the floor, kneecap towards the floor, tummy button to spine. Don't let your back move as you stretch your left arm out in front. Keep the neck neutral. Take a breath in here. Without moving your back, as you exhale, take your right leg out to the right, left arm out to the left. Hold it steady, readjust so that your spine is completely neutral. Bring the arm and the leg back to the midline. And then hand to the floor, knee to the floor. Have a moment. Left leg stretches out behind. Tummy button to spine. Press down into the left hand, extend the right arm. How long can you make the distance between your left heel and your right fingers? Take a breath in. Exhale out onto that diagonal line again. So left leg out to the left, right arm out to the right. Just the diagonal line, beautiful. Tummy button to spine, hold it steady. Shoulders relaxed as well. Back to the centre line. And to the floor. Knee to the floor. Sit back again in child's pose. Your wrists are feeling a little bit straight, then give them a bit of a rotate. Anything they need. Let your shoulders rest, let your arms rest. Hands under your shoulders again. Lift yourself back to hands and knees. And then this time take your knees as wide apart as the mat and have your big toes touching behind. So when you keep your left hand where it is, take your right hand on the floor in front of your left hand. Keep that right hand glued to the floor and then ease your hips back. As you ease your hips back, the left elbow can rest on the floor. Your hips won't go all the way back because of that right arm stretching forwards. But let your head and neck be wherever they're comfy. Let them hang, let them relax. Feel the stretch on the right side of your body. So right palm firm on the floor. Right hip or both hips really easing back, but definitely the right hip as well. Take as much stretch as you want on your right side as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just ease very slightly off. We're going to take 2 more breaths. Every breath in, and take as much stretch as feels good. And then every breath out, just ease off a little bit. 1 more breath in. And breath out. Lift your hips forwards and up. And then come back onto hands and knees. Still knees wide apart. And then step your left hand in front of your right hand. So firm that palm down on the floor and then slide your hips straight back again, as if you're trying to sit back in child's pose, but your hips won't go that far. And you can lean onto your right elbow, that feels comfy. Don't let the left shoulder lift up towards your ear though, keep it roll gently away. Palm down, hips back, feel the stretch on the left side. Move in order to get as much stretch on the left side as you can, and then take a breath in as you really elongate. Exhale, just ease gently off. Let your neck relaxed. Breath in, elongate. Exhale, ease off. 1 more breath in. And a breath out. And then lift your hips so that you can bring both hands back to their normal position. Sit back on your heels. And then just allow yourself to snuggle your ribs in between your knees. Lower yourself down wherever it's comfy. Forehead on the floor, or make some fisty kind of thing to rest your forehead on. And if it's not comfy, then you can lift your hips up and lean on your forearms. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, lift your chest, bring yourself back up. You're going to come all the way up to standing. Take your hands clasped behind your back. And the intention of clasping your hands behind your back is to broaden your top chest. So the inside edges of your upper arms squeeze together behind you. Broad through your top chest. Keep your left foot where it is. Turn it out slightly. Step the right foot forwards. So a decent size step forward with the right foot. You can go a little bit wider if you want to, if you need the balance. Squeeze your inner upper arms together once again. When you squeeze them together though, where your ribs want to push forwards, slide your ribs down instead. Dig the back heel into the floor. Push the left hip forwards. That's the one that doesn't want to come forwards. So dig into the floor with your left heel. Push your left hip forwards. Feel a bit of stretch on the whole left side of your front body. And then lift your chest towards the ceiling. So your front body's long, your top chest is broad. It's all going to stay like that. Dig the back heel into the floor, tummy button to spine, take a breath in. And as you exhale, hinge from your hips. So go slow, keep the squeeze in your upper arms, tummy button to spine. And keep your hips sliding back rather than letting them come forwards. Collarbones lifted. Lovely. So you haven't collapsed over. Front body still long. Top chest still broad. Tiny bend in your right knee if you feel you need it, if there feels like there's pressure on the knee. So you can stay here if you want to. Or you can keep the squeeze of the upper arms, but then let the shoulders roll forwards and let your head hang. So your body is just to the right of your left leg. No, just to the left of your right leg. Let the back leg be working strong, the heel pushing down. Draw your right hip back to the wall behind. Squeeze the inner upper arms together so the shoulders float away from you. And then take a good bend of your right knee. Release your hands. Take your hands either side of your front foot. And then step your back foot in line with your front foot. Feet hip distance apart. Take a bend of both knees. Tuck your tailbone under, your chin in. And roll yourself back up to standing. Then come back to the back of the mat when you're ready. Hands behind your back again. Squeeze your inner upper arms closer together. It doesn't matter whether you can't, if some people, if you've got broad shoulders, you often can't get straighten your elbows, but that's fine. Just squeezing together is good. Collarbones lifting towards the ceiling. Right leg turns out, the left leg steps forwards. The hips want to turn to the right, so that right hip, turn it round forwards. Once it's turned round forwards, dig the back heel into the floor. Really squeeze your upper arms, front ribs sliding down rather than sticking out. Move up into spine. The breath in here. As you exhale, slowly hinge from your hips. Keep the back heel dug down. Keep your left hip pushing back and your upper arm squeezing. Your collarbone's lifted. You bend in the left knee if you need it. So this is your option to stop and to hold here, squeezing your upper arms together. If you want to though, you can unlengthen your front body. So let your shoulders hang down towards the floor, but you keep the inner upper arms pulling together behind you. A little bit of bend in your left knee if you need it. Coming back into spine. Left hip pulling back because it wants to pull forwards. Right heel digging into the floor. And a steady breath. Head hangs if you let your shoulders hang. And take a deep bend of your left knee. Release your hands. Fingers on the floor either side of your foot. And you're going to step your right foot in line with your left foot. We're going to stay here for a forward fold. So feet hip distance apart. Knees a little bit bent. Let your upper body relax. Take a hold of the opposite elbow with each hand. Let your head hang. Ground your feet down into the floor. So your legs feel like they've engaged. Upper body completely relaxed. And with those bent legs, think about the backs of your thighs. Can you lengthen the backs of your thighs? What action would you need to make if you could lengthen the back of your thighs? It's an action that would push your tailbone more up to the ceiling and let your upper body hang looser. Release your elbows. A deep bend of your knees. And again, tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in, roll back up to standing. Back to the back of your mat. Hands on your hips this time. First warrior. So your left leg turns out. Your right leg takes a long stride forwards. So feel immediately how your right hip is in front of your left hip. Roll the left hip forwards. And as you roll the left hip forwards, dig the left heel into the ground. So push the front, the sort of outside or front of this thigh forwards. Dig the back heel. You should feel a stretch up the front of the hip. Breath in. And as you exhale, bend the right knee. Have a look down. You want to have your ankle underneath your knee. So you may need to creep your foot a little bit forwards. And then again, push the left hip forwards. Dig the left heel into the ground. Make that leg your anchor. Make that leg really strong, the back leg. Lift your arms. If you want to have your arms lifted, then hands on hips is good. Take a breath in. Lift up to the front of your body. And as you exhale, sink into your hips. Breath in again to lift up. Dig the back heel into the floor. Exhale, sink. One more breath in. Left hip pushes forwards. Left heel digs into the floor. You reach up. Exhale, sink. And then straighten your front leg. And hands onto your hips. Pick up the back heel. Pivot so the toes are facing forwards and then bend both knees so that you can step forwards. Walking. So step back to the back of the mat once again. Hands on hips. This time your right leg turns out and your left leg steps forwards. So we had to creep the foot forwards last time, go a bit wider this time. Left hip is in front of right hip. Square them up. Let the right one slide around to the front. And then keep the very front of this leg, the front of the hip, pushing forwards as you dig the heel into the floor. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend the left knee. Keep that action with the back leg though. Look down at your legs, make sure that you've got knee over ankle. Keep your foot away if you need to. Recheck the back leg, hip pushing forwards, heel digging down. Move up into spine, lift your arms. Take a breath in, lift up, like you're lifting your fingertips away from that back heel. And then exhale, sink. Breath in, square the hips, dig the back heel in. Exhale, sink. One more breath in. One more breath out to sink the hips. And then breath in, straighten your front leg. And onto your hips. Turn to the side. We're going to do a wide leg forward fold. So you want the whole... Oh, I didn't ask you to turn your mats around, did I? If you think of that, I've got a nice T shape here. So we're going to do a wide leg forward fold, whichever way you want to stand, but have both feet on the mat. Toes a little bit turned in. Hands on hips. Breath in to lift your chest. And then a breath out to hinge from your hips. Push into your feet as you hinge from your hips. Collarbones lifting up as you go forwards. And then when you can't go any further forwards, let your arms dangle down to the floor and then let your upper body relax. Take your time. Press firmly down into your feet. And you can have your fingers on the floor. If they don't reach the floor, you can hold the opposite elbow with each hand. So you can take your hands on your legs if you need to. That gives you a bit more support. That feeling that you had before, that action of lengthening the backs of your thighs, make that action as you breathe in, pushing your tailbone up. And then as you breathe out, let your upper body hang and relax. 2 more breaths like that. A breath in. Pushing up through the backs of your thighs. Exhale, soften. One more breath in. And then a breath out. Relax your shoulders. Take a bend in your knees and bring your fingers on the floor underneath your shoulders. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer together, a bit wider than hip distance. Ready to squat. So toes wider than your heels. And then as you bend your knees, make your knees go in the same direction, outward direction as your toes. Just see how far you get down. Doesn't matter, you can move your feet, you can stop halfway. You get all the way down, maybe lifting your chest. Just find your balance, doesn't matter where you are. And you find a bit of softness in your hips. Put the floor about a foot in front of you. That's where you're going to place your hands, and as you place your hands there, lift your hips up. And then one knee down at a time. Then take a lie down on your back. Stretch yourself out on your back. And bring your attention to your breath. Bring your knees onto your chest. Take your hands around your knees. Have a rock side to side. And then bring yourself up to sitting. I'm going to take a twist. So if you've got a block to sit on, I always think it's nice to sit on a block for a twist because it makes less effort lifting your spine straight. You want to focus on the twist rather than the lift. But if you haven't, that's fine. You can sit flat on the floor. You can find a cushion maybe. Cookery book. So take a hand either side of your hips. Just feel how tall you can sit up. So when you sit up tall, your back doesn't bulge out behind. It's about lifting the lower back forwards and up. And shoulders relax. You're going to bend the right knee. Place your foot on the floor. Left hand on your right knee. And right hand on the floor behind. Left toes point up to the ceiling. You sit as tall as you can with your shoulders relaxed. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, turn to the right. Another breath in to lift tall. Another breath out to turn to the right, looking over your right shoulder. Every breath in, regrow, but relax your shoulders. Every breath out, a little bit more, turn to the right. More breaths. So inhale, back to that lifted position. Exhale, turn. And your breath in. And your breath out. Gently unwind. Keep your hands either side of your hips. Stretch your leg out. Your legs are shake if they need a shake. And then bend your left knee. Foot comes in nice and close. Right hand on your left knee. Left fingers or hand on the floor. Not to lean into it though, to lift up out of it, to use it as a bit of a lever. To draw your lower back ribs forwards to sit tall. Right toes pointing upwards. Breath in here, lifting up. Breath out, turning to the left. And use every breath. One more breath in. One more breath out. Gently unwind. And either side of your hips. Stretch your legs out. And shake. So depending on how much effort you need to sit up straight to bring your lower back from bulging out behind, it's a little bit of effort. Stay sitting on the block if you had a block. If not though, then you can remove the block. We're going to take a forward fold. So your choice what you sit on, you can try with both. And you can have a little bit of a bend of your knees as well. Take your hands either side of your hips again. So push into your hands to lift yourself tall. Let this line of your collarbones lift up towards the ceiling. And as it does, feel how your tailbone slightly tries to push out behind. So keeping your collarbones lifted. Imagine you've got a wall behind you and you're trying to push your tailbone back against that wall. It's only like a millimetre behind, so it's not too much pushing. Push that back. Send your rib cage forwards. A little bit of bend in your knees is all good. If your arms need to stay there for your upper body to lean forwards, keep them there. If gravity lets you bring your arms forwards, then bring them forwards instead. It's your choice. You can take them back anytime you want. If your arms come forwards, you can let your shoulders relax, let your head hang. Just find where it will hold comfortably. Don't pull. I'm going to use the breath in a moment for a few breaths of stretching, so you don't need to be easing it all the time. That feeling of pushing your tailbone to the wall behind, feel how it's that same lengthening of the backs of your thighs. So we're going to be doing that on every breath in, but also we're going to be sliding the rib cage forwards, or the back ribs forwards. So as you breathe in, push your tailbone back, let your back ribs move a little bit closer to your feet. But then as you breathe out, let everything relax, ease right off it. You only need to make an effort on your breath in. So breathe in again. Tailbone touches the wall behind, your imaginary wall, and your lower back ribs Move forwards, and then you exhale and soften again. Use your own breath. Let your breath be slow. And don't go further than what feels comfortable. Well, maybe on your breath in to your edge of comfort, but on your breath out, back to comfort. Stay here for 2 more slow breaths. So a breath in to elongate your tailbone back, your back ribs forwards. Breath out to soften. 1 more breath in. And a breath out. Tuck your chin in towards your chest, so back of your neck lengthens. Walk your hands back up to your hips if they move forwards. Bring yourself upright. And then take a lie down on your back again. Stretch your legs out. Let your arms be by your sides, palm face up. And then bend your knees, feet onto the mat. Put your hip distance apart. Right outside ankle onto your left knee. Pull your right toes up towards your right knee. And ease the outside edge of your right thigh away from you. So your knee moves a little bit away from you. A bit of stretch in your right hip. And stay there if that feels like a good stretch. If you want a bit more stretch, then pick up your left foot. Pick up your head. Reach your right arm through the middle of the legs and your left arm around the outside. Interlock your hands behind the back of your left thigh. Tuck your chin in. Roll your head back down onto the floor. Keep the right toes pulled up to the knee. When your right knee wants to, if you relaxed your leg, it would move towards your face. Move it in the other direction. That's what's going to give it the stretch. And if you want a bit more stretch, then your arms gently guide your left thigh towards your left shoulder. Just about the hips, your shoulders can relax. And the only thing that's going to let your hips open a little more is relaxing them as well. So what action would let you soften your hips? Release the back of the leg. Place your left foot on the floor and your right foot on the floor as well. Left the outside ankle onto your right knee. With your toes up towards your knee. And the outside of your left thigh away from you. So that's where you stay if bringing the knees onto your chest is a bit too much stretch. If you want that extra bit, pick up the right foot, pick up your head. Take your hands around your right thigh, interlock them, tuck in your chin, and then roll the back of your head gently back down to the floor. Left toes pulling to your knee. Left knee moving away from your face, and right thigh coming towards your right shoulder. Anything that gives you a good stretch on your left hip. Shoulders relax. Feel your shoulder blades can relax down onto the floor, just settled. Elbow rolling down onto the floor as well. Release the leg, right foot to the floor, left foot to the floor. Bring your ankles and knees together. And then cross your right leg over your left leg. So leg over leg, not ankle and knee this time, but knee on knee, thigh on thigh. And then bring both knees onto your chest. And again, reach behind the back thigh if you can. And tuck in your chin, roll back down into the floor. So now you can let your legs relax, your shoulders relax, your hips relax. Just use your hands to gently ease your legs closer in towards you. Notice if that lifts your tailbone off the floor. Can you roll your tailbone back down to the floor? Release the legs. Left foot to the floor, right foot to the floor. And then cross your left leg over your right leg. Knees onto your chest. Interlock your fingers behind the right thigh. And then relax both legs. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips. See if it feels okay to squeeze your legs a bit closer. Knees from behind the leg, right foot to the floor, left foot to the floor. And then stretch both legs out along the mat. Take your heels as wide apart as the mat. Let your feet flop, arms a little way away from your sides, palm face up. Your chin's reaching up to the ceiling. Then just take the weight off the back of your head, tuck your chin in from the back of your neck and place the back of your head on the floor. Then let everything go. Close your eyes. Allow your breath to be comfortably slow. Feel the expansion as you breathe in, and allow yourself to soften as you breathe out. The expansion of the breath in spread all the way out to your fingers and your toes. Softening as you breathe out. Still every inhale, expanding all the way out, fingers and toes. The body softens down into the floor as you breathe out. And gently reach your arms beyond your head. Reach out for the wall behind. Bring your legs together, push your heels away Pull your toes up towards you. And then point your toes away. Feel equally stretched front and back of your body. And then release the stretch. Bend your knees, bring your feet onto the mat. And bring your knees onto your chest. Hand on each knee, and then with your hands, guide your knees around in a big circle. And take that circle round the other way. And move from the circle to a rock side to side. So know which way you're going to roll, depending on if you've got space on both sides. If you've got the choice, go to your right. If you don't, then go either way, all the way onto one side. And then bring yourself back up to sitting. Namaste.